What up, y'all, man? Welcome to another episode of Straight Facts with Gutta. I'm here with Kim Good Look Seabrook. How you doing?
I am doing amazing. Thank you for having me. How are you?
Nah, blessed and highly favored. That's how you.
Indeed.
That's how you have to keep it. And that's how, even if I always tell people, people say, it's so easy to say X, Y, and Z. I have a bad day and a bad week and a bad this. But if you have a bad day, right? Then why would you make it a bad week to then make it a bad month to then make it a bad year? Like, at what point do we say,
Absolutely. I
let's
get.
try
Let
something
me,
else?
let me interject on that. Yes, because I see a lot of people that be 10 a.m. in the morning and they say, "Oh, I'm having a bad day." No, you had a bad moment. You have the rest of the day to change it and to make it better. So whatever you're manifesting on yourself, that's on you. But you have the opportunity to change your day. Just because something happened at that moment doesn't mean that the rest of your day has to be bad, or your week, or your month, like you're saying. So yeah.
Right? No, like, how you wake up in a bad mood? Like that, to me, when somebody wakes up in a bad mood like every day, I automatically think they eat horribly. Like, in
Well,
my head,
that
it's just that
listen.
that's the first thing that comes to my mind. Like, okay, so you eating all this trash, and then your body is telling you, fix
Absolutely.
me.
Eating, drinking, not getting the proper sleep, those things like that alone, or having bad energy next to you, waking up to someone that you don't need to be next to, those things.
That is true. But can you tell people, right? You mentioned the drinking. I
Hmm.
try to tell my cousin that you can't drink a fifth of Henny and then take the sea moss and then think you just okay. Can you
Listen,
please let
I
the people
had
know?
another,
Cause you more of an
I
expert than I.
I had another female friend that she did CMOS also, and we helped each other. Like if she needed jars, I would give her connect. It was like really good mutual relationship. No, you sell CMOS, I sell CMOS, we can still build. Don't like how many loaves of bread are they out there, right?
Right?
So let me close it out. So then she came out and stated, "Oh, I want to make CMOS alcohol shots." I said, dude. So I inboxed, I said, you're in the business to help and to heal. I said, if you're putting toxins in somebody's body, you're defeating the whole purpose of what you're doing. She got mad at me. She unfriended me. She like, yeah, all of that. So no, you cannot be drinking a fifth of honey, quarter of a hen. Like it really, no, you need to really be persistent. Like even when I give instructions on people who are just starting, you can't go to McDonald's and eat a Big Mac and expect results. You can't. You have to
Right.
seriously intake more water, intake more fruits and vegetables, and then the sea moss would definitely interact with that, and you will see the benefits. But if you're putting toxins in your body, you can't expect to be taking good natural remedies and feel better. It's just not going to work.
Right. Just definitely not going to work. But you did mention water, and since you mentioned water, I want to
Yes.
give everyone, let everybody know that Straight from the Gutter is a brand ambassador for Hydromate. So if you put in your code Straight from the Gutter, you get 15% off. But
Okay.
with that being said, right?
Yes.
Right before Turkey Day hit, I saw somebody selling Seymour's Coquito. Um,
Hmm.
eh, make them, and
Make it make
maybe
sense.
they heard your friend and said, you know what, that's a good idea, and did it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Um, but I did ask the person, is it a virgin Coquito? Just out
Right.
of curiosity. She said
Mhm.
no.
So what is the point? What's the point of putting sea moss in an alcoholic drink just to say it has sea moss in it? What is the
See,
point?
nah, you know what the new thing is? When somebody puts, and they don't even get like the Irish sea moss or whatever. They want to say sea moss infused. Like what? Like, you doing it or not? I just be confused.
No.
Yeah, there's certain things that just don't go together. But we're gonna take it back
Yes.
from the boogie down.
Yes.
One, the home of hip hop.
Absolutely.
You have you have made a perfect marriage of hip hop, BX poetry. Let's talk about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's funny because when people ask me who are like my who's my inspiration as far as, me being a poet, first thing I got to say is hip hop. Hip hop is my inspiration. It's not other poets. It really isn't, unless we talk about Rakim, MC Light, and things like that, artists like that, then, because they are poets, but, they're
Right.
rappers. But poetry is a form of hip hop. It is a form of rap. So that's what inspired me, and that's what still inspires me today. And that's a big thing of
No,
who I am. So
that's
even like
dope.
sometimes, yeah, when my son first seen me perform, he was like, "I thought you was about to start rapping." Like he's like, so it was really cute and fun. But yeah, that's my inspiration, hip hop. I'm from the Bronx, I grew up writing, like I would rewrite rhymes back in the days and put it into my own words. And but yeah, I love hip hop. It is, our culture. It represents what we've been through, how we can get through it, who we are as people, as we're talking about real substance hip hop, and who we can
Hmm.
build together as a community, and how we can help one another, and even how we can even, get on each other's nerves too. Let's keep it real. We get on each other's nerves too. But
Right.
at
Be
the end of the
human.
day, yeah, at the end of the day, back in the day when you needed your light, the extension cord from your neighbor's house, we got it. So
Right.
and that's what I reflect on, those moments in time in that life.
No, but you picked the God MC as someone that you wanted to mention who recently actually did a show with Icon. That
Okay.
that that thing that Ja Rule's doing with for the legends and stuff. Like he got Rakim
Mm,
performing, Ghostface, Raekwon and them. And
nice.
so Rakim performed. I saw a couple of clips and it looked so fire. And then
Yeah.
one thing that I've always impressed me with his verbiage and his cadence and everything is the fact that he's never cursed on the record.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Never. Not you cannot find
Hmm.
a single verse
That's
where
what's up.
Rakim was cursing.
He don't.
And
Yeah,
that
he don't.
you know how intelligent you gotta be
Mm-hmm.
to have all them
Absolutely.
bars and you just that
Absolutely.
it's like wow. But we'll definitely shout out to your son
Thank you.
for going out and supporting his mama.
Oh
Gotta
yeah, all the
support, gotta
time.
support Mama Bear, and and
That's my
just to see
number
you in
one
your
support.
element.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he thought you was gonna start spitting, that means that you was doing a lot with your hands. You was just
Probably, yeah.
you was in it, like you didn't even realize it. That's that BX in you. Like you gotta,
Exactly.
you gotta talk with your hands because you speak louder. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right,
you
right,
people
right.
comprehend you better. You know what I'm saying? But
Exactly.
talk to us about this book, the
Yes.
book of people. A lot of people don't know I'm very very big into mental health. I actually work for the Mental Health Association in upstate New York where I'm at now.
Okay.
So when I saw your book in the insert and all the wellness, all the bonding trauma, and it was like wow.
Mm-hmm.
And to see it and you having an idea and then it coming to fruition, then being on Amazon and then being an actual business with people that don't even know you have purchased. Because that's when you know when you actually are selling something. When it's all
Exactly.
your family and friends, they're supposed to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
That's your people's. That's your
Right.
support system, right? Your support group. But when you see people from in the reviews and the comment, and you see people from Hawaii and North Carolina and Alaska and
Mm-hmm.
this, I'm like, okay, like that shows just how far of a reach your voice has,
Mm-hmm.
which is
Yeah.
amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Tell the
So
people
memory.
about this book.
Absolutely. So Memory Lane, I decided to name that because I did a soundtrack called Memory Lane a couple of years ago. I did it really, really fast because I had this big event that I wanted to sell something and get some money off from, which I did excellent at. And so it was still like I still wanted to perfect that. So I ended up just doing a book and making what I want out of the book. But with the book, it's not just a poetry book. So it's reminiscing with me through healing poetry. And what that means is that it allows you, the reader, to become a writer and to express your feelings. So after each poem is a word prompt and a question for you and a blank page with lines so you can write your feelings. You can relate to my poem. You can talk about what I went through, like, oh dang, Kim, I didn't know, even if you're not talking to me, but you're just letting it out, or something that you may have experienced that same situation, or you may know somebody. So whatever it is that you're feeling, I just want you to express it. So that's what it is. I talk about things that happen, with George Floyd. I talk about mental health. I talk about sexual abuse. I talk about quite a few things. So, what else? Women's identity is quite a few different. Drug abuse, I also talk about that as well. So, yeah.
There's a lot of, when it goes from drug abuse, domestic violence, it's mental health always had such a stigma in the black and brown community. It's and you know we our people are so ignorant, or were so ignorant, because now they're, some are fake woke, but some are really paying attention.
Right. Right.
But we come from a lineage of ignorance, because we come from, our parents come from these third world countries. They try to come here to make a better way for us and stuff, and a lot of times it's not even their fault, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you see someone saying they're depressed, and you tell them, shut up, you're not depressed, go depress them dishes, or or you're not anxious, you're just broke.
Right.
You don't have PTSD, you're just from the hood. Like, and all of these things is like, why? Like, at what point? And it makes me happy to see that our generation, you see a change for the better,
Mm-hmm.
because we don't get to pick our parents, right?
Right.
So whoever gives birth to us, if they're amazing people, great. But we have to be cognizant of the fact that they're human. They had a whole life before us. Sometimes they grew up with us, depending on the age.
Yeah.
And we have to, at some point, make a change to realize that this generational curse needs to stop.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Mental health stigma needs to stop. It's real, it's here, it's prevalent. It's been so big in our communities, we just don't want to see the world through those lenses, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, what would you say to someone from the age of 18 to 25 that tells you, I was abused by my stepfather, my
I think
mother supported it all? What should I
I
do?
think
What's my first step?
I think what you need to do is definitely be honest, regardless of what you feel like the outcome may be. I don't see your face anymore. I'm just letting you know. So I'm just talking
Yeah,
to
no, I know.
you.
I have you in the book
Okay.
as of right now,
All
for the
right.
people, for the people.
All right. Yeah, that's right. Memory lane. All right. So just I think the most important thing is to be honest. Um, regardless of what you feel that the outcome is going to be. I want you to learn a little bit of history about where your mom came from and how she was raised. We don't tend to ask those questions, and we don't understand the things that they may have went through growing up. And like, I was molested, so but my mom was on drugs back then, so her mind is not clear. You know what I mean?
Right.
Thank God she is sober these days, and I mean it's been a very long time, and she's doing amazing. Thank goodness for that. But we're that's right. Go ahead, mama. And I just recently did a poem for her to even explain all those things, but to also keep her head up, because we can't also blame. But 18 to 25 is different, right? I'm
Right.
46, so it's a whole different situation. You have to learn forgiveness. It's going to be hard, but you definitely have to learn forgiveness. And I think it really starts if you have conversations with your parents and try to figure out where they came from and where these problems arise. And if you go back to the source, then that's how you fix. And that's what memory lane is, like reminiscing, going back to our past and trying to figure out what was it that caused us, for me to wake up angry, what's causing me to not find the right relationships, what's causing me to want to drink every day, what's causing me to I want to smoke weed every day or sniff some coke. Like I don't want to feel this. What's causing me to not want to feel it, when in fact You need to feel it. You need to feel it. You need to face it. You need to go through it, and you need to go back to the core on what happened and how you can resolve it in your, your emotions and how you can get through it.
Right. The only way to get through something is to get through it. You can't go
Right.
around it. You can't,
Absolutely.
jump over it. And, it's a lot of things that people divulge in, right? Because they're trying to leave what reality is, right? They want the perception of that they have of the world is just not real.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're always inebriated,
Mm-hmm.
they're always high or drunk or sniffing and
Absolutely.
pills and
Mm-hmm.
fentanyl, whatever,
Oh yeah,
opioids
because I know
now.
there's so much more stuff these days. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's like it's ridiculous. And
Mm-hmm.
I actually heard a comedian the other day he said something along the lines of crack is getting a bad name because at least back then all we had was crackheads. Now it's like a slew of shit. And I
I
understood where he
I
was
don't
going
even
with
I
it.
don't even see crackheads anymore. That's the crazy
You
thing. At least
don't.
these crackheads, they would fix your car. They would.
They were very resourceful.
Yes. I remember, like, snowstorms, they would come out and take your car out the snow. Like, we don't even have that anymore. So it's different these
Yo,
days.
when I see people being lazy, I always used to say, "You gonna let a crackhead out hustle you?" Because think about it. You ever seen a crackhead not get crack?
That's what I'm saying. I know. They gonna
Just
get their
saying,
crack.
they gonna get their rocks. Like,
Right. Now we know they
regardless.
used to steal, but at the same time, they will also help you and hustle what you need. What can I do for you? Give me a few, for a few dollars. Like they hustle.
No, it's crazy. It's funny you say that about the snow because now it's like you have these kids that you don't even see kids walking around knocking on doors.
With the
Yo, can
snow
I
shovel.
do the snow for you? Like, you don't see none of that. Like,
You don't. You
yo, for
don't.
graduation, people used to get Mickey D's. Now they're getting freaking seafood platters
It's
and eating lobster every
crazy.
other day. Like these
It's
kids different.
crazy. Yeah, they real different. So glad
No,
I had my son when I had him. Yeah.
gee, shout out to you, cause my son is 13, and
Uh yeah, my son is 23.
nah, I waited, but that's my fault. I waited too long. I was 30 when I had
Okay.
him, so I'm 43 now. I was like, dang, I should have. But you know, we can't cry
I
over
know.
spilled milk, right?
Right.
You gotta kind of just get through it.
Right.
Um, but it's it's so dope to hear your mother doing well. That's beautiful. That's a blessing. Not everyone gets the opportunity at the second life, so to speak. At least not in the
Absolutely.
physical, right?
Hmm.
Um.
And
So
let me speak on that real quick. It was just like not she, it was a lot of us, and not a lot of us, me, but a lot of mothers and fathers who were on drugs in the building. You know what I mean? Not just her. It was the community. You already know the crack epidemic. You know what I mean? So it wasn't just my mother. It was a lot of our mothers, and I'm so thankful
a
that I see
lot of our mothers.
a lot of our mothers doing exceptionally well, not just my mom. So shout out to the many of other women who were in my life. You know what I mean? But yeah, so I see a lot of healthy women these days from my era. So I'm so happy. Yeah. Just
Yeah,
want to
because
give
you
them a shout
see, they deserve a major, major, major shout out because
out. Hmm.
that Ronald Reagan era, that crack era, that they put it in our neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
it's kind of like they really had no choice, so to speak,
Exactly.
because you like for example, now they got the fentanyl pills looking like Skittles, to trick the kids to get
It's
into
crazy.
things. But you see a kid growing out, depending on how much the parents are working, right, to keep a roof over their heads, because not everyone has the luxury for the kids to always have a parent present, right? Which is
Hmm.
another thing that we came up with, where it's like, all
Right.
right,
Right.
kind of raising ourselves, so to speak. And you have a lot of these kids going out and they're walking home by themselves from the bus. They home alone. They're talking to these other kids, and they start getting into the things like, oh look, it's just like candy. Now they're addicted. Now what?
It's crazy.
It's a whole epidemic that's going on.
Hmm.
Like, they don't even have that. Do you remember the what was the mascot? The Dare mascot.
Oh,
They used to tell
listen,
us say no to
listen.
drugs
Let
and
me
all that. Whatever
Let me
happened to
tell
him?
you,
Why he got
DARE,
fired?
and then we had SPECTA, Special Programs to Educate and Control Drug Abuse. It would be a cop and then somebody else, like a counselor, like some type of counselor, whatever, or maybe both of them were officers. But I clearly remember we had two guys coming all the time, a black guy and a white guy came to my class, showed the board with the different types of drugs and showed the crack bottles. I said, "Oh yeah, those were in my mom's drawer." Like, yeah, thank goodness that
So
I had the
innocent.
most amazing teachers, like, because I was in like a really special performing arts class and they really loved us. Thank God I had them teachers because who knows where I would have been in somebody's home, like group home, like
No, CPS like a
you don't
motherfucker.
even, I know. So it's like, yeah, those crack bottles, I know what that is. That's your whole jar. Those are my mother's, like, oh my God. Yeah. So, and we don't have that no more. But at least we did have that. And I was able to, talk to my teachers about things like that or, feel safe that I'm able to even say that. We don't even have that no more. So,
Right. At all. But what was that? What was that program that you have? I believe it's math.
oh, that's not my program. So that's Chip Fu from the Fushnikins. The math program, which is music, arts, appreciation, time, and healing. So that was my first poetry workshop that I was able to conduct with him. He allowed me to be a part of his workshop, which my whole process in doing this poetry was to create workshops. So when he allowed me to be a part of his workshop, I definitely knew that that's what I wanted to do. So he's just been a huge inspiration. I literally
Dope.
just spoke with him right now before I got off of this on IG real quick. And I always give him his flowers and tell him how much that it meant to me. Because even when he hired me to, and yes, he hired me. He didn't give me the position for free. He hired me. I was homeless at that time, purposely because I had chose not to go back to work anymore to pursue my poetry career because I knew that this is where I needed to be. So shout out to Chip Fu for giving me that first step in the classroom, which is what my goal was. And yeah, so
But it's dope because people don't even realize and thank you for giving him his flowers because he opened that door and now we got the
yes,
next. What is this
yes.
door now?
So, all right. Well, let me piggyback a little bit. So, before the pandemic hit, I actually had my own poetry workshop in a school that was for troubled teens who were in the judicial system, also in the foster care system. Which was, I mean, I turned their lives around. Like they would come downstairs and was like, I was having a bad day, but I knew you were coming, so I had to come to class. And some they started off hard, like I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
work, and then by the end of the class they're involved, or by the end of the session they was involved. So I started with that. Then the pandemic hit, and couldn't go back to in person anymore. So I had to figure out some things. I did the CMOS, and I'm still doing the CMOS, and then I have online poetry workshops for those who are on the spectrum, and those that means who are autistic. So I do have that, but I missed the in person with the teenagers because that was really the focus. I knew that I had a
Okay.
rough time as a teenager, and I needed that, and I know what our kids need. So I got a position in Brooklyn. Yes, I got hired.
Yeah.
2 days left a week.
Shout out to Red
Yes.
Hook.
Yes, in Red Hook, Brooklyn. So I will start not this week, but not the following week, but the week after. And it's going to be in a school, which is an alternative high school, which is the same type of school that I graduated from. So it's kids who are going through some things, and I got a little friend over here who wants to be interviewed too. So
We got some questions for you, sir.
that's Zeus.
Shout out to Seuss. Not like the network.
He always in somebody's business. But so I'm so excited because I'm excited to be back with the kids in person and more. Well, I am with kids already, but they're younger, so they're in elementary
Right.
school. it's,
No,
it's
and
good to be back
these
with the
kids with learning disabilities, developmental disabilities, the OPWDD programs and things like that, it is real big. It plays a real intricate part for these kids and their upbringing
hmm
and the one thing that they don't want to feel is they don't want to feel different.
Oh,
You know what I
right,
mean? That
absolutely,
they
yep.
don't want to feel different,
hmm
especially in the youngers.
Absolutely. And I don't make them feel different. I work with, they're pretty much young adults. I have one younger one who is, what, Sam is about 9. He's 9 years old, but the other ones are adults. And I had a huge book signing birthday bash the other week, and one of
Happy
my guys,
belated.
yeah, thank you. My guy and his mom came through to support me, and the mom was just said, she said a speech on how thankful she was, how I let him, be himself. Look, his favorite artist is Michael Jackson, and as soon as he came in, my DJ played Michael Jackson, and he got on the dance floor, and I
That's
got on
dope.
the floor with him, and it was just like so natural, and it was just everybody was open. He started that party. Okay, so shout out to my Spectrum team, my guys. Yeah, I love them. So and they love me too. So
That's so fire. People don't eat
hmm
like the. I mean, and that's a universal language, music, right? It's
exactly.
universal. But
Exactly.
I want you to let the people know, where they can get your CMOS, where they can get your book,
Yes.
um, and just any shout outs that you want to give out, and all your social media.
Absolutely. So my CMOS is www.smackedoffcmos.com. That's smacked SMACKED. And that's just being smacked with high vibrations and things like that. And my book is actually pretty much everywhere. So it's on barnesandnoble.com, target.com, amazon.com, walmart.com, UK somewhere, all over the world. So yeah, it's called Memory Lane, Reminisce with Me through Healing Poetry.
Dope. Thank you
Yes, and my
so
social
much.
media is right there. Good
Yes,
Luck Seabrook. You see the IG or Kim Seabrook on Facebook.
that's it. So yo, make sure y'all get some CMOS. Make sure you get that book. Whether you think you
Yes,
need the book or not, trust me, you need it. Because
yes,
when you think you're well, you could be better. And when you're
absolutely.
better, you can be great. And when you're great, you could be amazing. Like there's just always room for growth. We
Yes,
gotta we gotta always, leave that wiggle room for you to become a sponge when you have knowledge around, and share the wisdom. So
absolutely.
good luck, Seabrook. Thank you so
Yes,
much for taking the time out. We appreciate
yes.
you, and
Thank you for having me.
we will definitely tap in.
All right,
Pleasure.
for
Thank
sure.
you so
I
much, sweetie.
appreciate you. Thank you. Peace, y'all.